Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're gonna be watching some ShoWTimE replays, PvT replays mostly, on how to defend certain cheeses. We're gonna be seeing proxy barracks, we're gonna be seeing all kinds of different cheeses and how to just play a standard macro game as well, because you need to know how to play a proper game too. So, in this first replay, which is I think some Wardy TV tournament, ShoWTimE will play against Rat gameplay with actually Euthermal, right? So Euthermal is somewhat retired, but still quite active in some tournaments, and of course YouTube himself. So we're gonna be seeing how it goes. So first and foremost, ShoWTimE will just scout after the gateway as you do. He's doing a little anti-Reaper wall over here. You can check Gemini's guide on all things Protoss to know how to wall on each and every map. It's a pretty useful guide. ShoWTimE will just scout a little bit. As you can see, there is a proxy barracks over here, but ShoWTimE is just not aware of it just yet. Let's see how he reacts. So his probe is just going to arrive. Oh my god, he's spamming like hell. Alright, so the first thing you see as ShoWTimE is the lack of barracks in the wall and just a depot over here. You can see both geysers fully mining as you arrive. You gotta pay attention as whether or not your opponent's actually getting an orbital command can be a useful tip. So ShoWTimE is just checking the outskirts of Euthermal space, but he's just, going for a Nexus. He's not scared, he's not shitting his pants. He's going Nexus 20, Pylon 20 as well, but he's still searching around over here. Sometimes you can make a barracks over here and a bunker, you can be trapped. Here you go. The probe is scouting around a little bit. I'm actually surprised not scouting any deeper, but as ShoWTimE you need to confirm whether or not there is a factory over here. So it's a very important scout. There you go, he sees the factory, sees the second depot. So when you see the factory over here, you know the factory is not on the other side of the map, like here for example, next to a starport, ready to drop whatever, Hellions and Widow Mines, or maybe hidden over here next to the barracks to go for tanks and a one base all-in, something like this. So now ShoWTimE is aware of that. ShoWTimE will first chrono boost the Stalker and rush a shield battery in the natural. If it's Marauder, which actually is the case here but is not aware of it just yet, you rush the battery and should be just fine. So you go Adept as second unit. You can probably go for and the second Stalker is probably fine, I think. Maybe he gets a Hellion because he spotted the fact that the Terran is going most likely for Hellion or a Widow Mine, in which case the Adept will deal additional damage, so it's pretty useful. But I think the Stalker is fine as well. So he's rushing the Robo as well. I mean, the Adept is a bit cheaper as well. So now finally ShoWTimE is aware that Marauders just arrive. How do you react? Chrono boost the Stalker, right? They get extra DPS against Marauders. Adepts, frankly, don't do much against Marauders, although they tank better, but they're not able to actually deal damage. So you chrono another Stalker, but note, ShoWTimE is completely aware that the Terran is on one base, right? He scouted the factory and he saw the Marauders at the front. ShoWTimE is still making probes. He's not overreacting, he's still making probes. Surprisingly enough, probes are actually quite useful in defense as well. You can pull the probes and tank for the Marauders. So look at this, this is very precise. ShoWTimE will use the shade to follow the Hellion. Remember, Adepts deal extra damage against light units, and Hellions are light, obviously. Stalkers is extra damage against armored, which Marauders are. So it just sticks around with the Hellions while this Adept will shade behind the Hellion and get rid of it. It will add a second, what is it called? Gateway, there you go. You recharge the battery as well. When it's out of energy, just recharge it, so you make sure you don't lose stupidly to the Marauders. And you can add a second gateway. When do you add the gateway? Simple. Look at your warp gate timing. You want to add your gateway so that when the gate finishes, warp gate somewhat finishes at the same time. So 25 seconds left. Yeah, about the same here. So the moment your gate will finish, warp gate will also finish, which means you can warp in 2 units. So you go Immortal first, obviously, because you scouted Marauders. So you want to get some Immortal rule. One Immortal will 3-shot a Marauder, so pretty effective. And I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, ShoWTimE resumes the pro production. So you see, we're not shitting our pants, we're not being ultra defensive. ShoWTimE is still thinking about the next phase of the game. You don't want to put yourself in an all-in position. Extra probes will give you resources to get extra batteries. They will be able to be pulled as well to tank for yourself. So don't be shy, make probes, don't put yourself in an all-in position. You can see ShoWTimE is even taking the risk to go out there a little bit now that he's got his immortal. As you can see, the gateway finished, so he warped in 2 stalkers right off the bat. And now your goal as the Protoss is to try to target the Marauders with the immortal. Just aim up with the rest, doesn't really matter, but just target the Marauders with your immortals. And here, that should be it. The medevac will barely die, and that will be it. Our Terran friend is on a single base, right? Terran is almost saturated, so that's how you do it. We're gonna watch game number 2 now. Alright, game number 2 between ShoWTimE and ShoThermal once again. Rad gameplay. I'm gonna speed up the beginning just a little bit because, I mean, we don't really care, you know how to play, right? I just wanna see this little wall. As you can see, ShoWTimE is walling like this. So you can wall on this map with 1 gateway and 1 cybernetics core. The good thing about on this map is that the pylon is placed in that way, which means you can place your tech over here. And with the tech over here, you can pretty much hide it. Even if a Reaper were to jump, I don't think it's even possible, but you would be able to hide it. But anyway, so yeah, I think the Reaper cannot even jump anyway. I don't even know why I'm mentioning this. So once again, ShoThermal this time is not going for Proxy Marauder, is going for double racks. So this is a very interesting build. How do you scout it as Protoss? Let's pay close attention to ShoWTimE. So once again, he arrives and he sees the same thing as the last game pretty much so far, just a depot and no barracks. But the difference lies here. Oh, in the previous game, ShoThermal had 2 geysers finished when he arrived with the probe. ShoWTimE scouted at the exact same timing, but this time there's only 1 gas and it's not even complete. Note, the moment your gateway finishes is pretty much the time at which the first racks or the single racks will finish as well. So if the geyser is not finished yet, it means there will not be a Reaper because obviously Reapers cost gas. So at this point, you know 100% is not going to be super fast Marauder or super fast Reaper simply because they cannot afford it. Now you stick around a little bit and you check. So is there an orbital? Yes, there's an orbital right away. Note that ShoWTimE, who was going for a Nexus, decided to get a Zealot first. It's very typical to go for a Zealot in this scenario. Right now you don't really know what's going on, but 1 Rax Marine doesn't really make sense as Terran, right? So it's gonna be at least 2 Racks. If he was going for a Reaper, once again he would have had a gas much earlier. But if the gas is earlier, then you cannot rush the second Rax like he did. So pay close attention to it. If you see just a single gas like this that's not finished when it's time to build a potential Reaper, you should probably think about 2 racks Marine, most likely into a factory. This is why you take a gas after it. It's because you want to transition out of it. So what do you do as ShoWTimE? Before you get the Nexus, you go for a Zealot core, obviously, whenever you can afford it. And then you make your pylon, and then finally you get your Nexus later. So the idea is to get yours out quick enough to deal with potential bunkers, and you don't want to be supply blocked, hence the pylon before. So now this is going to be very interesting by ShoThermal. This pylon placement will kind of get in his way, and ShoThermal would very intelligently place 2 bunkers like this, which means the Zealot cannot go through. So this defense would have been perfect has this pylon been placed somewhere else, like over here, then the probes and Zealots would have been able to go through. Not quite the case here. So my question is, how do you salvage the situation as ShoWTimE? Let's figure it out. So ShoWTimE still has the scouting probe on the map, and you will see it will come in handy very soon. So this setup is pretty difficult, if not impossible, to break through for Protoss. All you can do is get stalkers, you chrono boost them, right? You get a battery just in case the Terran decides to walk up this ramp. We're still making probes. Once again, whatever cheese you're facing, you want to make probes. If you're behind in economy, especially against Terran, you're going to be struggling a little bit, if not a lot. So right now, ShoWTimE, what do? Well, I'm stuck on one base as the Protoss. What can I do? I have my scouting probe on the map. You know, I'm Demourer, I'm the defensive Protoss, but I still need to make something happen. I'm not going down this ramp. There's 2 bunkers filled with Marines. What can I do? just get a hidden nexus. So that's a pretty good idea in my opinion. Now, he's just getting an extra gate. I think I would like to get the Twilight Council as well. That would be great. All you can do as ShoWTimE is just try to poke the bunkers, right, to force the Terran to repair, which once again costs resources. So we're still making probes, we're getting a Twilight Council. I'm spinning up the replay just a little bit, just to see what ShoWTimE is going to be doing next. So you still want to get rid of the bunkers eventually, right? So this is how you do it. Keep making probes. Now this has been spotted, very intelligent by ShoWTimE to just scout around, because he knows he's on a single base, right? I mean, ShoWTimE is on a single base, so you just want to make sure there's no hidden nexus. You force your way through, just make sure you don't lose stalkers. Like you can see, ShoWTimE is just, oh no, we lost a stalker, just a little bit of a misclick here. Okay, don't really want to lose stalkers, so just, yeah, kill the bunker, use your battery to heal your units. Right now the setup is like 3 gate and so on. And yeah, your nexus has been spotted. Now your goal is to A, transfer probes, and 2, well, defend it. So what does ShoWTimE do? It's gonna show again. ShoWTimE will just stack some of his probes, right? He's at 24, so he's gonna grab, I guess, 11 or even a bit more. Yeah, there you go. Just stack everything and just recall. So you have units over here to defend, and you can already mine with a bunch of probes. And now you need to play from there, so it's a bit more difficult, right? You're not in the position you would like to be. You have units all over the place. You have a nexus at the bottom right to defend. How can you do it? Well, first you need a robo to provide vision, thanks to observers, and you don't want to miss a beat. Get your natural, which is in this case your third base, and you want to be active on the map. You have blink. You need to remain active, because if not, the Terran will just freely walk across the map and destroy your base, which is not exactly what you want to have happen. Battery over here. If there's a Banshee or just a little drop, you know, he spotted a Cyclone, there's a good chance there's a medevac drop with a Cyclone in there. Just get a little battery to buy yourself a lot of time and have actually a tool to defend properly. Now, ShoWTimE's job in this game is to stick around. You want to stick around, you want to know what the Terran is doing, you want to keep the Terran at home, so that if the Terran were to cross the map, you can actually poke the units, get some value, and delay the timing. You want to make sure the Terran gets delayed, especially with siege tanks, right? If you can force the tanks to siege and waste time, this is really going to be profitable and will give you more room to get an extra warp in as well. You go all the way to 8 gates, because we're in a pretty much critical scenario here as ShoWTimE. You keep on making probes always. You want to be ahead in economy. So it was a pretty bad early game for ShoWTimE, right? Sure, ShoWTimE got what he wanted achieved, but yet it's still okay economically speaking for ShoWTimE, right? He's ahead by 13 workers, which is what you want in this matchup. Now you use the stalkers to actually kite. This is masterfully done, and you always want to know where the Terran army is. Right now I'm ShoWTimE. I stick around with the stalkers, right? I'm just making sure I can see where the Terran is going and buy as much time as possible. Just poke a little bit, but always keep track on where the Terran army is. You don't want to miss this army, because if he sieges to your face and you're not aware of it, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, you need to have a mature decision as well. ShoWTimE knows you won't be able to defend this nexus, so what does he do? Just give it up. Take this one. He took this nexus in anticipation. He also made a doctrine in anticipation for a potential base trade. So you see he's not thinking step by step, he's thinking like 3-4 steps in advance, because he knows it's going to be very hard for him to defend this base. So what does he do? Just uses his stalkers, the mobility, you know. I almost could have gotten that medevac. You just counterattack, you know, the army is out of position, you trade the nexus, get something in return. If you just let a Terran kill a base for free and you get nothing in return, then you're in a terrible spot, right? Get something in return. Here, just go towards the Terran army. ShoWTimE has sentries. What can he do? He knows there's no medevac in this army. Just use the sentries and just force field. And there you go, minus 12 SCVs. So what should have been a terrible trade for the Protoss was actually a great trade for the Protoss. He loses a Nexus, but he took that one before, so he could just transfer the probes back and mine again. Kill 15 SCVs, even recalls 3 zealots over here. The units will dangerously go home. You know, he's a bit lucky that ShoWTimE is not trying to check the left side of the map, but he's still going to be able to escape. And out of a terrible early game, you can still make something beautiful happen, right? with good decision making and thought process. Now, we have a good economy, but we kind of need to have upgrades and, you know, some form of tools to use in the future as well. ShoWTimE's going back on the map with the stalkers. You know, as I said, you want to know where the Terran army is. You don't want to get surprised. Always use your stalkers if you have the APM to allow it to get vision and know where the army is. Now, once again, your thermal is on the map. What do? We made a doctrine for potential base trade. You can use the DTs to just counterattack a little bit, right? He knows, I think he knows there's a turret. Yeah, the turret was being built. I mean, a bit silly to lose the DT, but I guess it's alright. You would rather hide the fact that you actually have a doctrine. But still, the stalkers are in the middle of the map to provide with vision. Zealots are very fast, so, you know, you can go around and have some fun. Worst case scenario, if you get caught out of position, you can always run away with the Zealots. They're really, really fast. And stalkers have blink, obviously. So now, if I put myself in ShoWTimE's view, he really has a lot of vision, right? He has some vision here for potential drops. He has Phoenix here. He has got a Zealot here, DT over there. Basically, he's getting ready to potentially counterattack. But see, he's not putting himself in an all-in position, right? Keep on going, get Colossus, get a 4th base. Your win condition with this style is really to outmine your opponent, try to mine more, and try to trade frequently so that you're mining more. And if you trade, both players are losing a little bit of units. And then eventually, if you're the player who mines more, eventually the Terran player will struggle to replace their army, and this is pretty much when you win. So we're just digging around a little bit as ShoWTimE, right? Getting into Colossus, of course, really important to get into. My god, 40 Zealots, Jesus Christ, you really want some quality in this army. That's why it's making Colossus. Also, the Terran is very marine heavy himself, 47 marines, so one Colossus alone will already help tremendously. Once again, the stalkers are in the middle of the map. You want to spot the Terran army. We snipe a little Widowmine here for free. And we only engage if we really have to. Do we need to engage right now? Well, not really. We have a Colossus that's not even ready yet. There you go, the Colossus is coming and joining the fray. Do we need to attack? Well, not really. We have one more Colossus on the way. We have range not even finished. And honestly, we have time, right? We don't need to make something happen. We're mining more. There is this base ongoing. There's not much going on for the Terran, so we don't need to attack necessarily. Just take your time and pick the best engagement you can take. ShoWTimE is going to try to buy time for a second Colossus, which is very smart. Why would you attack? Why would you attack? The Terran is not threatening anything. These siege tanks are not in range of anything. You're mining more. You do not need to attack. It's actually the Terran who needs to make a move right now, because if he doesn't, well, check the income. He's mining twice the amount that he's mining himself, right? So take your time. If you can buy time for an extra Colossus, you will double your AoE damage because you only have one at this point, and you can gear up for the best possible engagement. See, he tried to go in, just pull away if you don't think it's a good fight. Note, one big note, there's a sentry in this little group over here for Guardian Shield, and there's also a pair of sentries here. You really need Guardian Shield. Get +2 armor on every single of your units. Technically, it's not as if you were 1-0, but 1-2 in this case, because of the I mean 1-2-2 even, because it applies to the shields. So Guardian Shield it is. You really need to make sure you always use it when you engage. And now ShoWTimE is just waiting for the second Colossus to arrive. There it is setting up a great concave units all over the place, especially great against tanks. Then you go Guardian Shield, and just go for it. See, Guardian Shield on both sides, and just aim moving. Rewarp the moment you can rewarp. Do not waste a second. Warp again. And this is how you do it. You just get a great engagement, surround the Terran army from everywhere. And the moment you think you're losing the fight or it's not going so well, just pull away. Just pull away. You don't need to just suicide into it. Just take your time. You don't need to rush into the Terran army. You're the one mining more. You're the one in charge. You don't need to make something happen. Remember, always remember who actually needs to make a move. Right now you don't. You're mining more. If nothing happens, you win. So let the Terran make a move. Always rewarp if you can. I think ShoWTimE maybe could have added some extra gates before, but that's probably alright. But this is how you play a proper PvT.